This is me with no hair, by the way. If you watch the podcast, you've probably seen me with hair. But as you can tell, it's thinning on the top, and I don't want to pretend. I don't want to pretend. I don't want to pretend that I have hair when I don't. It's like, you have this patch right here. See this? That's a mess. What is that? What that is when it grows, from the front, you can look like you're doing fine. From the front, you look like a millionaire. From the back, you look like a peasant. So this is just a metaphor. Don't get all hurt, right? But it's like when you look at me from the back, if we had a conversation when I had hair, you would say, oh man, yeah, super pro. This guy's a super professional. He knows what he's talking about, whatever, maybe. And then, he could sell cars or something. Like, you'd have some goals for me. You would have some way of defining me in some way. And then if you ran into me at a party from behind, you'd be like, oh, look at that poor guy. He's holding on to hope. He's holding on to some hope that he's got hair. He's holding on to hope. And that's really what that is. And then when I turn around and I go, oh, hey, how are you? He goes, oh, yeah, I remember talking to you. And then there's I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I don't want to be one of those guys that holds on to hope, right? And if you're one of those guys holding on to hope, right, you're hoping that, putting chemicals on, I'm not going to put chemicals on my head. That's the other problem, right? Because are there chemicals I could put on my head? Sure. Do I want to do that? No, it's kind of where my brain is. And yes, of course, my brain is protected by this shell. I get that. I totally get that. Doesn't mean I want to put chemicals on the biggest organ I have, which is my skin, and have it soak into, right? That's dumb. Look, do you. But to me, that's dumb. So I decided, shave my head. And I'm not going to lie, when I did it, as soon as I did it, because I had a longer beard, so I changed a lot of things all at once. Don't do that. Don't do that. That'll throw a brother into some despair. Not deep despair, of course, but despairing. Of course, despairing. There's no question about it. Where you're going, I made a boo-boo, right? You don't want to, I made a big boo-boo. This might not be what I had hoped for. However, you end up in a bind, a double bind, where you don't want to be a pretender who's losing their hair and you're going to try to hold on to it forever. Like Joe Rogan did that for a long time. He was holding on to it. And I was like, bro, get rid of it. And he did. He took my advice. I like the way that I say that because it seems like I spoke to Joe Rogan and the reason that he shaved his head was because I told him he should. That's not what happened. In my mind, I was thinking to him, dude, you should let it go. And then he came to the decision on his own to let it go. And I thought, all right, look, do you look more menacing? Yes. Are you going to have to make sure you don't squint your eyes like this a lot? Yes. We understand the tendency to look American History X, let the reader understand. We understand. So we're going to relax our face and look. So if he does, right, and then I see these guys. I've known guys that held on for a long time. They held on long time. And they're the guys that are they're going to go to the elixirs, the whatevers, the plugs, they're going to, right? Comb overs, right? They're going to do that thing. It just wasn't something I wanted to do. And it doesn't seem as though those things work that well. But like the prosperity gospel is to many women and many men, so the hope of obtaining hair. I had hope. And I think somebody told me at one point, just brush your hair. Right? Like, brush your head, massage your scalp, and the hair follicles will grow back. And I was like, that wasn't true either. So for whatever reason, this happened. And I've known people that tried and tried and tried. Eventually, they gave it up. And once they shaved their head, I thought, that's the move for you, my guy. That's the move. And so if you're holding on, if you're thinning like crazy, you're looking at your hair in the mirror and you're going, that looks pretty good. I'm going to tell you, dude, if you got sun coming down, if you got like the smallest bit of light overhead and you can see your scalp and it's thinning, so, I mean, just let it go. Right? It does whatever, dude. We're getting older. This life is temporary. Whether you're a good-looking fellow like me or you're some, trash panda, you're just, just embrace it, man. You are who you are. Be comfortable with that. Yeah, this was a weird video.